30th, 2025. Today is our 5 o'clock work session, and if you would join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty, now I'd like to invite Minister Nash Cox. I waited till you sat down, Nash, before I called your name. So you could come up, and she's going to give the blessing. If you could tell us who you're with tonight, please.
I'm representing the Interfaith Council. Oh God, guide us today as we strive to listen to you for inspiration, to know that we are governing in the best interests of the people of Franklin County. We're grateful to be in this position as we look toward a positive future with solid infrastructure, expanded housing opportunities, and healthy and equitable economic development. The decisions we make today often affect future generations, so we ask you, our Creator and Protector, for direction in expanding our vision. May the members of this court be strengthened in fulfilling their duties, and may God's grace be upon this community. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. So next we're going to do public comments, but our county attorney would like to make a statement.
As far as public comments, we will not be able to take any public comments regarding either approval or disapproval of a zone change that is currently before the Fiscal Court. The Fiscal Court, by statute and by case law, is required to make decisions regarding zoning based upon the record, either from the Planning Commission or as developed by this body at a hearing. So approval or disapproval, comments regarding whether or not to have a hearing are permissible, but as far as whether or not the court should or should not grant any type of zoning amendments will unfortunately not be able to be done at this time.
Okay, is there any other public comments that don't have to do with planning and zoning that's on our agenda tonight?
Judge, I just want to go on the record that I don't agree with our legal advice in this instance. I think it jeopardizes the constitutional right of First Amendment free speech in any way, and I'll again say that public comments cannot be restricted in any manner, regardless of what they are. We know we have to go off of a record unless we decide to take another action, and I think we're all smart enough and capable enough to make that decision and differentiate between a public comment and what is in the record. And I find it problematic, particularly in this instance, that we have an agenda for the very first time, even though this thing has been said this way and advised to us for quite a long time. For the first time, we have something on our agenda that actually states that we cannot take comments about the approval or disapproval of planning and zoning changes.
I put that on there because I didn't want people to be upset if they came down here just to speak and they weren't allowed to. And also, we don't have to put public comments on our agendas either. It's not KRS, so we do it because we like to hear the community. But as far as planning and zoning, you know, we've been in some issues before that have ended up in court because of things.
And I think this is heading to court. Judge, you made my argument for me in a way there. I just want the public to know that the judge sets the agenda for this court. This body, although it should, in my mind, make the agenda as a whole, do not. So any statements or anything that's on the agenda and any representation of the public is made by the judge alone. So just wanted that to be understood. Thank you.
And I will say this body has to understand what position they sit in. When planning and zoning issues come before this body, they are sitting as a judiciary function, not a legislative function. So when you start talking about making decisions, that has to be done off a record. If people get up and give public comments, that could be considered testimony that is not on a record. So if you have some type of law, cases, statutes, or anything like that that are different than what I have provided and the Franklin Circuit Court has ordered, I would be more than happy to see them. But just feelings and not based upon law are two completely different things. So like I said, if you've got any kind of case law or anything like that that supports your opinion, I would be more than happy to see it. Okay?
My references are made to other attorneys' recommendations and conversations over multiple years in serving in public leadership roles. And if you
If
all
you've got a
recall,
case, if you've got a
if you
case
will,
or a
excuse
statute.
me, Max, if you'll recall, some months ago, I asked this court to specifically take this exact issue to the Attorney General for an opinion, and this court opted not to, so that we would have an external validation of that advice. So, thank you.
And then your comment about setting the agenda, it's in KRS that it's my duties to set the agenda, not the court set the agenda. So, yes, you are correct. Okay, good, please state your name, and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. My name is John Carlton, and on this exact topic, I want to express serious concern about the blanket prohibition on public comment for zoning items listed on tonight's agenda. This restriction, which silences the public on some of the most impactful government decisions while allowing comment on others, is not only misguided, but also raises significant legal and constitutional concerns, such as being arbitrary, selective, and discriminatory. Zone changes are among the most consequential decisions a fiscal court can make. They can permanently alter long-term land use, traffic, public infrastructure, environmental conditions, and even property values. Courts have held that when government actions impact property interests, even indirectly, meaningful opportunity to be heard is required. When the public is silenced on matters of this magnitude while allowed to speak on less significant items, that disparity violates both equal protection and due process principles. The court appears to rely on a misreading of KRS Chapter 100, and in your attempt to comply with this meeting, you may be overshooting the federal and state constitutions. Yes, the Planning Commission conducts the evidentiary hearing under KRS 100-211, and it does so in a quasi-judicial capacity. But that does not preclude this body acting in a legislative capacity, which is doing so before it decides to take up another public hearing from hearing its constituents. This prohibition may even deprive each of you as elected representatives of your rights under the principles of representative government to hear from your constituents before legislating. It certainly deprives your constituents their rights to meaningfully be heard and to communicate with you as their representatives. And by barring public comment at the legislative stage, the fiscal court denies citizens that additional opportunity to petition their government for redress of grievances, especially where new facts or legal arguments emerge after the Planning Commission hearing. KRS 100 does not override the First Amendment, the 14th Amendment, or Sections 1, 2, and 8 of the Kentucky Constitution, all of which guarantee the right to freedom of speech, to petition government, due process, and equal protection under the law, including prohibitions against subject matter and viewpoint-based discrimination or suppression of unpopular speech, and disparate treatment or impermissible content-based restrictions that trigger strict scrutiny. If this body believes it cannot legally accept public comment on zone changes, then fairness demands that no public comment be allowed on any matter, not just those most controversial. But that's not what's happening tonight. This selective silencing of public speech by the government, especially on controversial and high-impact issues, is inherently arbitrary and constitutionally suspect, and may be a continuation of selective, discriminatory, and retaliatory actions by this body against public dissent on this prohibited topic. Therefore, I respectfully urge the court to restore the public's right to speak on any matter.
Thank you. All righty. Any other public comments from anybody other than zone changes? All righty. Next, Duke Wilburn, you want to come up and give us a road department update, please?
Yes, sir.
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How are y'all?
Doing well, thank you.
Good. As far as what the road crews have been up to the last couple of weeks, we're running a mowing crew pretty much every day. Mow trims out and running every day. Running patch truck, and then ditching and culvert crew as well. So everything seems to be running pretty good. I will say that the new shop is, as far as fleet maintenance and things goes, it seems to be working really well. Travis and Philip are doing a good job. working on planning and zoning vehicles, park vehicles. Started doing some work for the jail, so it's helping the county out a whole lot.
Dick, you want to talk a little bit about the road facility?
Yes, I would. Actually, Andrew may have a couple photos here. The crew got started on the pole barn today, and as you can see, they've made pretty good headway in one day. They had a few bugs to work out with the permit process, but they got everything worked out and moving along pretty good.
What are they thinking, a couple weeks to get that up, or?
Yeah, a couple of weeks. Maybe a little bit of a time on the doors. I don't know what is. I don't know if they're stock. They're they're big doors, so he may have that worked out by now. They're supposed to deliver trusses in the morning, so kind of exciting to get that new building going.
What about, you want to bring up a little bit about Devil's Hollow and Glenn's Creek while you're up there?
Yes, sir. I think Andrew's got a couple photos of it. I made a site visit this afternoon, took a couple photos. It appears to me all they like is the guardrail.
Okay.
And I did get to speak with a guy from the state, and he seems to think that maybe it'll be open this week, by the end of the week. So
That's great.
because it's a pretty good detour for several folks, so it'd be nice to get that open back up.
And today, I was talking to Duke, Glenn's Creek is now back open, it's the first day down there in between Franklin and Woodford County, so a lot of traffic for Castle and Key, and go back and forth between Buffalo Trace, so that's going to help everybody, so appreciate the state working on both those. So, any questions for Duke while he's here? Squire Wisman.
Judge, just a comment. I just want to thank the state for working directly with me on Devil's Hollow. It was finally closed when I went out to move some cones back that had fallen down in ravines, and my footing gave way, and I slid down about 15 feet on my own to where that had given way. So it was a major safety issue, and I don't think anyone quite understood how bad it was. So thankfully, the state decided to close the road, and sorry for everybody for the problems, and I think I've put it out far and wide that because of the topography there and the cliff, there was just no way to signal that road for a one-lane closure because the signal would not go through the cliff. So it's been problematic, but it's been for the best and safety of everyone that it had to be closed for the time being. And the state thankfully said last week to me that they were on time, maybe even ahead. So glad to see that they got it paved today.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Duke?
Thank y'all.
Duke, thank you very much. Appreciate everything you all do down there. Duke, you want to acknowledge you got 2 retires coming, right?
Yes, actually we do.
Sorry, I just thought about that as you were walking away.
Tomorrow's their last day. Stephen Hawkins-Smith and A.C. Smither will be retiring. They've been with the county a long time, so
We appreciate their service.
congratulations to them.
All righty, thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, we're going to head to the judge's report now. Andrew, what's our first picture? I'm not sure what order I'm going in here, so I'm just going to go with it. Alrighty, NITO, our big new announcement. So, we've all been involved in this amazing project. The owners and president and CEO came in from Japan just for this ceremony. It was very well attended. It was a very kind of private, but that's the way the Japanese asked us to do it. So it was very white gloved. Everyone had their own scissors. And that's the group that was there. It was very, very well done. Then we did a tour afterwards, looked at the factory and all the different things they make and produce here. They've been kind of running probably for 3 or 4 months. The reason they hadn't announced it yet is because they had closed 4 other locations down, and they kind of wanted all that to happen before they did a ribbon cutting. So, but they're very happy to be here. They're excited about all the things going on in Franklin County. I know Squire Sebastian, Squire Dykes, Squire Herod, and Squire Tanner was there, and it was just a great event. So we should be very thankful and welcome them to our community. So very happy to have them. All right, Andrew, what's the next one? Alrighty, either Kelly, Kelly or Sherry, one of y'all, I know you all are both there at this event. I was unable to be there. You just want to talk about it for a minute? I think it was a great event, and it's for a great cause.
Sure, I can.
Either or, yeah, sorry, I should have asked you all beforehand.
There was quite a bit of pre-work
Yeah.
for that, and it benefits a wonderful organization here in our community, Fresh Start Frankfurt, and they thought the turnout was going to be 150, and there were well over 200
Is that right?
people
That's great.
that came, and then an additional large number ordered takeaway meals early, so luckily there was enough food, but it was by the
Yeah.
skin of our chinny
Good.
chin chin, and I had worked the day before making sauce, so I heard the sauce was great, so I feel good about that. But it was wonderful
Good.
to see people from all over the community come in and put their hands to
Yeah.
something so wonderful.
Good.
From everything from setting up, going out and buying things, chopping vegetables. I mean, there was a lot of hands that made this happen.
Yeah, well, good. And I believe the money raised was for Fresh Start Frankfurt and transitional and recovery housing for women and families in Frankfurt. Is that right?
That's correct.
So, well, good. Well, we appreciate everybody that supported that event, and thank you all for representing Fiscal Court there. All right, Andrew, next one. All righty. I think most of you all have heard the news. Our sheriff has decided to retire after 28 years and 8 months. He just told me a day or so ago, and you all were notified within probably an hour. And that's so we hate to see him go, but we wish him well. He's healthy. He's excited. He's talked to me for a couple of years about it. He always wanted to kind of leave when the sheriff's department was on top, and he said it's doing better than it's ever been. And so we want to just thank him for his dedication to. He started out at the city at 19 years old, giving parking tickets, he told me, and he has been probably one of the best sheriffs that Franklin County has ever seen, and he was very commendable about the working relationship with this court, and we've been very helpful with helping create that sheriff's department. So, 2024 Sheriff of the Year for the whole state. He helped get the SROs in all county schools, and that's just a couple highlights there. And then he and I had a good discussion, and the gentleman in the back of the room right there, standing at the door, will become our new sheriff as of Thursday at midnight. So for anybody who doesn't know, Chief Dwayne Depp, he's been critical to building that sheriff's department. We could not think of anybody that is more fit to fill that position than Dwayne, and we are excited. That's his son Dee with him. We went ahead and swore him in yesterday, and it will take effect, like I said, at midnight. So we're excited to work with you, sir, and we'll keep a lot of good things going. So it's all great news. So thank you. Alrighty, the next is had a meeting last night with some people. They're starting to kind of put a birthday celebration together for our 250th birthday next year. So the meeting kind of consisted of just kicking some ideas around. They came up with some more people that will be invited to the next meeting, the History Center and some different agencies to see who else is talking about doing some things. So I will keep everybody in the loop as far as that progresses and kind of what comes out of that. So that will be for next year. So that's a great thing. This morning I was on the taping live and with the plant board. I appreciate everything the plant board does, and just kind of went over some highlights of the new Ford dealership out there that's being constructed. All the walls are up. I met with them, and they hope to be open by next March, April. So things are moving fast. We talked about the paddocks. The new Target will be open by next June. And I think LEX and Lexington Herald Leader did a big story on the paddocks last night or this morning. So about a lot of the places that have already committed to being there. So it's always good. Talked a lot about the sports commission. The sports commission has been created. They're doing a lot of good things. They've hired an attorney. They're working on bylaws. They're working on an RFP for a sports management company. Charlie Lewis, our parks director, sent me some pictures today about how the park is progressing. They're starting to put infrastructure pipes in the ground for drainage. So it was a good taping. So we appreciate everything they do there. Had an interview this morning with Fox 56. They're kind of doing some specials on small towns, but they wanted to talk to us about the buyout program specifically because they knew Frankfort and Franklin County were hit hard. So, we had that open house a couple weeks ago, and I think the county's up to about 32 applicants. We've kind of put a soft deadline of Friday to send those off to DC to hopefully secure some money for that. So, that was good. And last but not least is our good friend Bobby, who's going through some things. We're looking to do a big fundraiser for him. Bobby's been a county employee for a long time. His main role here is to take care of the courthouse and all the maintenance over there. So I believe Duke and Jeff Hancock are doing a fish fry. I know Jenny and some other people are working on getting silent item auctions. So the whole event is open to everybody. It's at the Carter House on August 6th. But the goal of the event is not only to see Bobby and wish him well, but is to raise money. So we are spending a lot of time kind of going through previous courts, previous employees, anybody that might have worked with Bobby over the years to kind of get a lot of people there and support of him and kind of what he's going through. So alrighty, that's where we are. So we're going to keep moving from there. Thank you, Andrew. Alrighty, item number 2, authorization and approval of minutes from the regular meeting of July 16, 2025. Any comments, concerns on this agenda item? Squire Sebastian.
Thank you, Judge. I had sent some additional corrections to our clerk, and so the copy I have, I'm not sure if it is the most current, so
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve them with the amended changes.
Okay, clerk, do you have those?
I did not get a chance to print those out. I will send them out after the meeting.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Alrighty, next agenda item is the minutes from our special meeting of July 23rd, 2025. Alrighty, next agenda item, I believe we are, how should I address you? Sheriff-elect. I mean, I'm not sure what to even call you today, Dwayne.
Dwayne works fine.
So,
I think I like that name best of all.
Yeah, that's the one your mom gave you, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what do you have for us today?
All right, Judge, if I may first, thank you for the recognition and thank you to the court. Judge, thank you for the appointment. And I can assure you guys that you're going to get the best that I have to offer. So, again, thank you for that. I bring you Chris Squire's best today. He was unable to be here, so he asked me to come and fill in his shoes. And I know I've got a lot of big shoes to fill, but we're going to get through this. So in reference to our tax audit, our 2023 tax audit has been completed by the auditors of public accounts, and we're happy to report that all monies were collected and dispersed within the auditor's guidelines. So in essence, the Franklin County Sheriff's Office received a clean audit. I think we've had 14 different audits throughout the years, and I think we may have had one finding out of all 14 audits that we've had, and that was something, a little blemish something that we did, but the
Well,
audit
for the
that we
record,
just...
that was overturned by the Attorney General.
That's exactly
And
right.
now
Mhm.
that's in place.
That's very true.
I was
yes.
going to say, yeah.
I felt bad because it was for our event.
That's exactly right, as
For
an
the
event
court.
run by the court, so. But another clean audit, and that's one of the things that our current sheriff, Chris Squire, is very proud about, that very fiscally responsible, and all the monies were collected and dispersed the way they should have been.
Perfect, thank you. Any questions, concerns, comments on this one? Nope, okay, next one.
All right, I think the next one's mine as well.
Yes.
As you all know, that over the past couple of years, we have been blessed with a great fleet of vehicles to ensure the safety for our deputies, and we thank the court for that. We have, in essence here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 vehicles that we're looking to surplus again. And we've got the VIN numbers here. We did not list the mileage only because the mileage is ever changing. They're driven daily for a large number of miles, and our hopes are to either surplus these, either trade them in or put them through gov deals towards the end of the year.
Okay, and then where are you with the budget we gave you all to purchase vehicles? you looking at certain vehicles already?
Yes, yes. I know the sheriff has been working on vehicles. I think we're kind of like right there about purchasing them
Okay.
and getting them delivered. So hopefully the next court meeting, I'll be able to give you guys an update about where we stand as far as those vehicles are concerned.
Okay. Any comments on this agenda item? Oh, sure.
Thank you,
Marshal
Judge.
Bastion, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Judge.
Yep.
Chief Deputy, can you talk to us, you indicated that they may not be surplus right now.
Mhm.
Is the rationale behind that because you're looking at vehicles and
That is
they're not
correct.
available
That is
for us
correct.
to? Okay.
Yes. If you think about it, a lot of your police departments, their fiscal year starts in July. So if you haven't already gotten your bids in, if you hadn't already started to purchase vehicles, those vehicles are already gone. So chances are we wouldn't be able to get the vehicles that we needed currently right now, or we would have to wait later in the year or pay a little bit more for the vehicles that we think we might need. So our hopes is when they become available, we would be able to either trade these in or surplus them as we go and the need arises.
And will you or someone from the department come back and let us know as these 8 vehicles, if they roll off?
Absolutely,
One at a time or 2 by 2?
absolutely,
All right,
yes.
thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
It won't change any different than the way Sheriff Choir's been doing it in the past. We will continue to do business as far as our vehicles the same way we've been doing, and it's been very fruitful for our office to do it that way, and most importantly, the safety of our deputies driving good, safe vehicles.
Laura Wisman.
How about future Sheriff Dwayne for today?
Okay?
Could you speak, there's a 2024 on here, and generally, that most people's mind, we just bought that.
Sure.
But could you speak just a little bit about the process? I think it's actually a template that should be used and replicated amongst lots of local governments rather than some of the more popular fleet leases that are becoming the standard.
Absolutely.
Could you just elaborate a little?
Sure,
bit?
I can speak to that easily. So that 2024 Camry, we bought that vehicle with hopes of doing certain things with that vehicle. And once we got that vehicle, we realized that it doesn't really supply us with it doesn't necessarily do the things that we needed that vehicle to do. We still drive that vehicle, we still use it for certain things. The mileage on that vehicle is pretty high for 2024. So our hopes are that we can either trade that in or sell that and then get a different vehicle that does what we know we need in order to be successful.
And generally, the rest is a process. My understanding or my takeaway is we're trading these in while they have high value.
That is correct.
And we're almost just replacing in kind and keeping an ever new fleet.
That is correct. And what that allows us to do is not only to trade them in right at the warranty level, right before the warranty expires, and that reduces our maintenance cost of our vehicles. And again, I say, and I know I've said it 2 or 3 times, but it's most important to me, the safety for our deputies, that they're driving a good, safe vehicle. Yes, sir.
I appreciate this. I remember when I was at the city, there was a request for some of the oldest city vehicles to be transferred to the sheriff's department just to help out because there was such a lack and a poor fleet at that point in time. And then really with 5 years, we've come around to maintaining an all-new fleet. So I think that's credit to Chris and you and really a great job. So.
Yes, thanks to the court. I mean, you guys have been great, and our deputies really appreciate it.
Yeah, good. All right, thanks, Dwayne, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
All righty, next I believe Ally, our solid waste coordinator, is here with us tonight. Thank you for being here tonight, Ally.
Thank you, Judge. Good evening, members of the court. Today I have with us requesting the authorization for renewal of our lease with Buffalo Trace for the livestock compost pad. I wanted to get this on the docket early this year. The only change is that under, let's see, in terms of groundwater monitoring, I met with the environmental engineer on their team and they felt like annual was more appropriate than quarterly basis for water monitoring, so we made that change. And we have our surface water report. I sent that to them. Everything looks good, so.
I just want to go ahead, Ally, thank you for running that program, and I just want to publicly thank Buffalo Trace for this lease. I wish we could get a little bit longer than a year lease. We do this every year, but I understand. But the location's perfect, and they have been a very good host for us to anytime we've needed something or asked to put that new building up, they've worked with us, so I just
Yeah.
want to go on record by saying thank you to Buffalo Trace.
They've been great to work with.
Squire Sebastian.
Yeah, thank you, Judge. Appreciate you being with us. There was a clause in the contract that talked about any structures built on the site have to remain on the site. So, you know, we built a structure there to store a loader under. So just, we're okay with that, or?
I need to look at it, Alex, and when we talked to them about that, I mean, they were pretty much like, if you go, you take it with you.
Yeah.
I remember that conversation.
And it's
so.
always been that way,
Yeah.
so
What page are you referencing?
I didn't write that down as a note, but I read
Okay.
it in here, or I wouldn't have brought it up.
I'll
so.
check for it.
I tell you what, as
It's
we go-
actually been in the contract 3 years that I've reviewed them.
Yeah.
It's been there every year,
And
and
the
it
thing
was
is-
discussed ahead of time, and I think it was
Before we
said that
built.
one it was you couldn't build it.
Correct.
And then two, if you built it, it had to stay there.
Yeah.
But they allowed us to build it, and it's one of those things of.
Yeah, it's in here, so, and I'll be happy to track that down and make a note. Usually I write down what page XYZ is on.
That's
I
okay.
didn't for this. But it might be worth a conversation, just to
Yeah.
see. I know there's not a lot, I mean, there are poles up there, and it's just metal siding.
Yeah, but I remember,
But-
I remember them specifically, and Ally, correct me if I'm wrong, but they were like, if for some reason this ends, you all can just take that building with you.
And
you
it
know?
should be a
So,
quick
yeah.
deconstruction
Yeah,
to take
yeah.
that to wherever we need
Yeah.
to start the same operation, because we're gonna wanna keep that loader under something.
There was
Yeah,
more,
just-
yeah, no, thank you for pointing that out. I know there's more concern on their end about, like, you're gonna take that, right? You know?
Yeah.
that-
So,
Pretty much
but
out.
That's
I'll
always been
default,
the conversation.
Yeah.
That's why I just thought it was unusual.
thank
So-
you for finding that. I wanna default, I guess, to,
Is it
our
on
county
17?
attorney.
What actually says.
Do you think it's worth amending the contract and getting it signed again, including the clause about the building being
I
removed?
think we'll visit it next year. I don't think I heard anything.
Like I said, that clause has been in there now this is the 3rd year that I've been able to see. And the building, it actually talks about not being able to build anything there.
Correct, that's the
I
main
mean,
thing,
and
because
so,
they told us all.
then we got permission to build it,
Right.
and it's been one of those things of,
Yeah.
when you build it, please remove it. I think, my guess is they don't want us to build more permanent structures up there and then try to take those out.
I would agree, because we've had that conversation in the previous court about building items up there, and it was never allowed. And then when we got the opportunity to upgrade the loader,
Yeah.
we wanted to keep it under something, they were extremely gracious as a corporate partner to allow us to do that, which is why the structure is really bare bones,
Oh, yeah.
really minimal. But certainly it would be something that we could deconstruct quickly. But just again,
Yeah.
Yeah.
please note that.
Well, in 17 of the terms of the lease, it does say the tenant will remove all the tenant's property from the premises, including equipment, fencing, slabs, protective membranes, basins, berms, impoundments, all improvements, buildings, facilities, systems constructed by the tenant so as to deliver possession back to them in the way that they left it for us. So it kind of
I
goes
think
both ways on that.
It points to
That
itself then,
contradicts it.
because.
Yeah,
I think it's more, this structure that we have is more temporary in nature.
right.
Squire Tanner.
Correct me where I'm wrong, which I could be pretty quickly, but if we were to want to take that building down, we ought to take it apart.
Yeah.
Dig the post up. It's not that big of a building in the first place, and when we built it, you build something on somebody else's property, you know what the answer is, it's gonna be theirs. Unless there's some kind of agreement with you that it's not. And it looked to me like you'd have to spend more money to take it apart and move it than you would be to build another one, because it's not a affluent building, if that's the right word. It's bare bones, as you all pointed out.
Squire Westman.
What I was going to bring this up to is, of course, Sebastian, it's under number 7, alterations and improvements. It says we can't build anything, and if we do, if it becomes a permanent part of the property, then it stays after we leave.
Okay.
A couple of things, though. When we authorized the expenditure to build that structure, we made a request for the judge to come back with an altered permission or contract at that point in time. Last year, I think it was middle of last year, right? And that hasn't been updated, so I would like to see something, we've already kind of directed that as a body to update that because we appointed that as a problem in the contract at that point in time. But beyond that, and I think I mentioned it last time we had this contract, you know, I'm kind of to the point that I'm concerned that we have a year contract that renews every year. We have a fairly sizable operation there that we're putting some investments in and some grant funding that we have some, you know, some regulations that we have to comply with, and we don't own this property, and we have a 90-day out, either party. We've proven, and we've now become a national or a state standard for other communities to come look at this project, right? At the time that it was built, a lot of the community, and rightfully so, was concerned about the operations and didn't want it near any neighborhoods or anything else because of the fear that it might stink or be a problem. And it's been proven to be a really successful program, I think. I think, in my opinion, it's either time to start looking at some other land where we can move an operation that we own and can operate and expand however we'd like to. We've talked about other composting opportunities that can be added to that, but we don't have the site or the room there to expand operations. Or potentially we look at maybe buying this property if Buffalo Trace would be willing to let it go. I don't think they are, to my understanding, but I will just state for my opinion that we need to start looking at a piece of land that we can operate on, that we own, and can defend indefinitely, right, without having to go through a permission process or a fear of having a problem like this in the future, so.
Right, even though they've been, you know, it's free and they've been a great partner, you know, having control over this space is, I can see why that would be ideal. I guess what I'm asking the court is if you want me to meet with their legal team again to discuss the use of premises section, the building section, and then the alteration section, and get clarification, or if they already signed it, or if we just want to move forward and table that discussion.
I personally think if it could be changed for next year. Max, what are your thoughts? That we're okay? I mean, if they've already signed it, I mean, they're hard to get a hold of and everything else, and the last thing we want to do is make them upset over a freebie piece of land. That's just my opinion. And again, I want to say thank you to Buffalo Trace for having this partnership with us.
It ain't worth fighting over, I'm telling you.
It's the preference of the body if y'all want to do the contract as it stands, or if you want to go back and try to revise those sections. So if you want to go back and try to revise and renegotiate those sections, then we need to table it. If you all want to approve it as it is, then we can do that.
Sebastian.
Having kicked all this off, I'm going to say, I would rather us have that conversation throughout the year, so that when we see this again, and we know we will see it again, and should something come up even before then, I mean, it can be brought up at that time. But again, I think we've all talked about the structure is not intended to be a permanent structure, so if we had to bring it down, whatever, we could go ahead and do that. So, and they know it's there. We had to get permission to put it up when we got the funding to do it, so. So that's where I'm at.
I thought of something else that I meant to mention. Also within the context of the contract, we have some language that limits the access or usage of the property in terms of taking people there. Now, we've got permission multiple times to take other municipal governments to come take tours and things like that, but we're having to transfer the composted material to the road department, right, to be able to let anybody access it, and that just creates more hurdle, more process, more work. And even though we've got permission multiple times to take people on tours of the site, I'm always a little concerned that we're out of compliance with the contract, so there's something else to mention that we need to update in the contract if we continue to operate with them. And I appreciate that Buffalo Trace has been supportive of us in letting us do that, but again, I'm going to really push that we need to start finding a location that's permanent. And I'd like to expand recyclable and trash options for our county anyway, that includes all of these things in one site, so.
Yep, I know, I would like to know where that ideal spot is. I think that is the biggest limitation with the contract, is the lack of, like, the inability to have public access to the site, for sure, so I want to validate that.
Okay, so Ally, I think it's kind of direction of the court, just when they can meet with you, I think revise those couple things for next year, go ahead and get that done, but I think we're going to go ahead and vote on this tonight, just so we can keep it moving.
Okay, sounds good.
Swear to giving you I'm doing something. Okay. Ally, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, perfect. All righty. Next, I believe our transportation. Hey, how's it going? You're hiding over there. I didn't notice you were here. Go ahead and state your name and who you're with, sir.
My name is Tom Hall, and I'm with KYTC's District 5 office in Louisville. And the purpose of our visit tonight is to present rural secondary road resurfacing projects for the court's approval. But before I do that, I would like to introduce everybody that came along with us. And so first off, that's Larry Cheney in the corner. He works with me in planning, and he actually really coordinates all of the rural secondary programs in each of our 8 counties in District 5. And so he does a lot of work for us. Scott Tipton here, he's our branch manager for construction and maintenance activities in our rural counties. And so he's here representing that group. We got Scott Smitha here. He does maintenance supervision in the Franklin County area. And then finally we got Matt Bullock. He's our chief district engineer. Okay.
So did you bring them? So we're supposed to ask them each a question tonight, right?
Yeah, as long as you don't ask me any questions. You can ask as many questions.
I mean, we're supposed one per person, right?
That's right. That's why we bring a big group. Okay, so really the purpose is a little bit of explanation about our road system. The state maintains across Kentucky a system of big roads, 30% of the roads in the state, but we carry almost 80% of the traffic, something like that. And our road systems in each county are broken into 3 sets. We have our state primary roads like interstates, and we have state secondary roads, maybe like US 127. And then we have this lesser roads, farm to market type roads, and those are rural secondary roads. And the reason those roads are important is they connect our big network to the county's local road system, okay? And so it's a requirement for us to get together and get coordination with counties each year about what roads we want to resurface because you know the connections we need to make to the local system, to the state system, and so the right rural secondary road work is important to both us and to you, and the coordination is key. What I like to do is talk about, we come out every year and we do this, and what I like to talk about is, what we proposed last year and agreed upon last year, and then how we did. And so last year, it was our intention to resurface St. John's Road, that's Kentucky 1570, and we resurfaced approximately a mile of that road, basically from mile point 5.4 to Kentucky 12. And then another road that we looked at was resurfaced was Kentucky 12, Dry Ridge Road, and our intent was to resurface from Shelby County line to Harvey Land Road. And both of those have been completed, and so that's good news. We completed what we thought we could complete. So that brings me to this year's program, and what I like to do is walk through our loan sheet, which is our program sheet. And we start out with what seems like a large sum of money, but then we have to carve out certain portions for certain activities, and ultimately we end up with a portion of that money able to resurface roads, and hopefully we can get agreement with the county, and we can go about doing that. So we started out this year with a carryover balance from last year of $104,544. The allotment of RS dollars for Franklin County for this year, it was $948,289. So we put that in a pile, and our estimated funds available is $1,052,833. So like I say, that sounds like a lot of money, but the first carve out is our state services for routine maintenance and traffic, as patching potholes, snow and ice, those type activities. And in our rural secondary road network, we have actually a little over 97 miles of rural secondary roads that we have to do this work on. So it takes a large sum of money off of the top of the budget. The amount is $426,700. So if we were take that away from our total funds of $1,052,000, we end up with $626,133. Now, the second carve out is kind of a bonus for the county. Maybe 10 years ago, this rural secondary program started offering a portion of this money to counties to resurface some of their local roads. And usually at the beginning of the year, we reach out to the county and we say, hey, are you going to use this flex money, or are you going to let us use it on state roads? Franklin County opted to use this money on local roads. So the Franklin County, you guys will get an agreement with our Office of Rural and Municipal Aid and select the roads and do that resurfacing and get reimbursed by that office. But we take that off the top of our program, so that ends up leaving us with $531,304. And that's there's one other carve out, which is sort of a legacy expense for judges that have been in office for many, many years, that's been discontinued through House Bill 241 as a county judge expense, which was about $3,000. But we don't have to take that off, so we end up with $531,304 to do resurfacing work. And so this is where the meat of the plan is. We propose to do resurfacing on 2 rural secondary roads. The first one is Dry Ridge Road from Harvey Land Road to the Henry County line. And you might remember last year we did from Shelby County to Harvey Land Road. Now we would finish that resurfacing and go from Harvey Land up to Henry County. This is a 6.9 miles of resurfacing. And our estimated cost for that is $468,958. So if we take that off of our available funds, that leaves us with $62,346. We have a small resurfacing section we'd like to do on Guest Road, which is Kentucky 561, from US 421 to the Henry County line. So this is just a little bit more than a half mile of resurfacing. Our estimated cost for that would be $46,957, and so that would leave us with a little carryover balance of $15,389. Of course, when we bid these projects out, they're a little higher, a little lower, but in the end of the day, we think that's a fair and reasonable use of the dollars that we think are available to us. So our goal is to, if the court agrees that these are the right roads to resurface on our system, we would let those projects this fall to construction, and they would be complete before July 1st of next summer. So our program is 2 roads, and I would open it up to questions.
Of course, I completely wholeheartedly agree, and I made a request to some of your colleagues for this to be the section that's spent on this year, so I appreciate the support in continuing that. And I have to pass along great accolades from the people of Dry Ridge Road. That paving was just finished last week and striping was finished Friday evening, I think, by Friday evening, that they are so happy. That road has not been paved since I was a small child. I remember it distinctly riding the school bus and stopping in probably the late 80s. So they're ecstatic that that road was paved, and they wanted me to pass along, several of them wanted me to pass along. I get calls every single week for that request for quite a long time. I have to correct one thing that I would be remiss, and my folks will be mad if I don't, that this section that is to be paved is actually Flat Creek Road, not Dry Ridge Road. It says Dry Ridge in the road is still Highway 12, but it separates into 3 different names as you go along it. So just wanted to correct that and send my approval and thanks for this continuation. I had a lot of phone calls asking why are they stopping at Harvey Land Road? Why are they not continuing to the county line? I said, well, there's an active bridge project at the end of the county line that's going to take precedent, and I promise, or I can almost promise, that the rest of the road will be paved next year once that bridge project is done. So they'll be very happy to have this, including I think our electrical inspector that here lives on that section of road, and they've been constantly asking when it's going to be made. So, thank you all.
Whatever, Squire.
I got a question. You talk faster than I can hear. One of them is about the flex funds for the county. That comes out of the rural secondary fund?
Yes, it does.
And who decides where that flex fund money is spent? Is that the county judge and the road or fiscal court? Who is that?
I would say that it's probably the fiscal court would decide that.
And Duke?
I rely on Duke, I mean, because they're the one that's monitoring these roads.
Well,
even when we got this on the agenda, Duke and I had a conversation. Obviously, it's the state roads, but he said by far, these are the worst roads in Franklin County, so we have to look at it.
I'm not questioning the roads that they're
Yeah.
being blacktop, I was questioning, not questioning, just trying to understand, the flex funds. And that can be spent at the direction of the court, judge, or somebody, and it's not earmarked for anything, is that correct?
That's correct.
I think we've already earmarked those for the year, haven't we? That's part of the budget.
Well, we may have, but I don't know what it should be, you'd think it'd be spent on the road, but that's fine, you answer my question, thank you.
All right. Brian?
Judge, while we have them, if I could just, because I have all of you in the room for once, if we could just get an update. I've had some questions about why so many things are happening in the 6th District right now that are causing such traffic disruptions. And it's just a calamity of circumstances. The Devil's Hollow Road, the bridge replacement at Bridgeport Benson off US 60, and the upcoming bridge replacement on 12 at the end of this at the Henry County line. I wondered if maybe Matt could give us an update of anticipated completion. Are they on schedule? Particularly the landslide and the Bridgeport Benson Road Bridge. One of those may impact the upcoming school session return, but hopefully it will be finished soon.
I know they've started on the resurfacing on 60. Hopefully, when did the school start back? 13. Hopefully that will be getting close to getting done.
It's scheduled through the end of August, right, the Bridgeport Benson, but it could be finished earlier.
Yeah, they got a late start on that. I would say it would probably will not be done by the time school does get started, but it will probably not be very much long afterwards. I think they had 60 days to do that bridge, I think. But it's not a very big bridge, so they should, hopefully, we should be able to. May not be the first day, but it won't be long afterwards. And then the slide, talked to our guardrail contractor, thinking hopefully they will be there by the end of the week and we'll have Del Hollow opened up. So.
Fantastic. And if I could, I want to thank you all too.
And the bridge on 12, we're building a new one beside it, so we won't actually ever have that one closed. So, yeah.
And I had forgotten to express some thanks too. I had actually got some phone calls and was about to pass them along for the shoulders on 60 that are being repaired right now. It makes a big difference. So I had a couple of folks say they'll express thanks to you all for that too. So.
I think it's my understanding that that's probably the least dense area in the community, and I think that's just kind of the rotation, right? So once things out there are finished, you all circle back and start in another part of town. Is that kind of correct?
Yeah.
It's just timing. I mean, it's been longest since things have been done out that way. It seems like after, Duke and I have talked a little bit. I mean, it's just kind of the rotation.
I think that's a fair statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then several programs kind of working in tandem. We have a bridge program, they have their own schedule, we have resurfacing, it has its own schedule. Sometimes they kind of...
Right. But ultimately, you all just keep kind of rotating over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions? I want to say thank you all for being here tonight. Very helpful. I appreciate everything you all do. Your road crews are phenomenal. We're very happy with everything you all help us with here in Franklin County.
Okay, great.
All righty. Thank you. All right, Belinda, I believe you're up next.
Good evening.
Thank you for being here.
Happy to be here. This is a resolution to apply for the Burns State Crisis Intervention Program grant, which provides funding to programs and projects that have a direct connection to crisis intervention focused on identifying risk and intervening before harm occurs, and gun safety initiatives are a priority program area for this grant. And the Franklin County Sheriff's Office would like to partner with Fiscal Court to apply for grant funding to purchase a concealed weapons detection system that would be used primarily at Franklin County schools, but is portable and could be used at various other county facilities or events as needed. The estimated cost of the equipment is $70,000. The grant is federally funded and is administered by the Kentucky Justice and Public Safety Cabinet, and there is no matching requirement. And so Andrew has a graphic up for you guys to see. Basically, it's touchless. You just walk through it. There'd be someone with an iPad that would be able to see if you have anything concealed as you walk through. So it's easy, it's quick, doesn't slow down.
You said it's portable, too.
It's portable. All you have to have is electricity. So it would be primarily for the schools, but if we wanted to have it at the fair, or if there was some other event where we thought there might be a need, the sheriff's office would have it in their control. They would just bring it, plug it in, and be good to go.
Perfect. Questions for Belinda on this? Of course, Sebastian had her hand up.
Thank you, Judge. You've answered my question because I wasn't sure what the concealed weapons detection system consisted of. I didn't know if it was 13 units of something for the schools or if it was one mobile unit.
Yeah, it's one mobile unit,
That's
yeah.
fantastic. Thank you very much.
Belinda, I would ask next time, if you don't mind, go ahead and put the price down, what it is, even if there's no match, just for informational purposes for us. You said it was
Okay.
$70,000.
$70,000,
But if
yes.
you could, maybe just put that in there, because
Sure.
you always wonder. Squire Blackburn, do your hand up?
Yes, concealed weapon detection system. So it's basically a metal detector?
Yes.
Okay. Would the folks using this, would they also have some handhelds?
Well, my understanding of it is, now we've just kind of started this because we didn't have permission to really get too far into it yet, is there is one person who has an iPad, and it's sort of like, and it uses a lot of different technology, but it will kind of like at the airport, it will put a red box on, if you have a bag that you walk through and it suspects there's something in your bag. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Because I know you go through a metal detector, we all have tons of metal on us all the time. So it could be like a bottleneck, people coming in, everybody's got something
Yeah,
metal.
and it is more sophisticated than that, and I apologize that I can't speak a little more firmly on how it works. I don't understand all the technology just yet, but my understanding is it is not just simply a metal detector. There's more to it than that.
I understand, yeah. Well, if the sheriff's involved, I'm sure it's.
Yeah,
that's exactly
Captain
what we
Abrams is the
need.
one who brought it to me
Safety
and
guy with the
who
schools.
would like to, try to get the funding for it.
Of course, Sebastian.
Put this out there and just see where it goes.
Here we go.
Thank you, Judge.
I appreciate you setting the stage.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So the metal detector that was bought 5 or 6 courts ago by the Fiscal Court at the jail, we know there have been issues. It's also got some age on it, but it was a high-priced item at the time it was purchased. So, and I don't know enough about these type of things, but this is a concealed weapon, so I don't know if there are other uses that it might have, so that it might be something that we might want to look at potentially putting in our budget to update what we have in another facility if it's going to do multiple things.
Yeah.
Because it's newer technology.
That technology's changed a lot.
I'm just trying to think
Yeah.
to the future.
Yeah.
'Cause
No, it's something good to bring up. I had another meeting with ASC today about the courthouse, because obviously we're in the
Yeah.
process
I
of
mean, there
building
are-
the whole thing, but it
Right.
might be an opportunity to go ahead and update some of those technology
there are
now.
multiple
Yeah.
uses that we could, and the cost is not as exorbitant because that
Yeah.
was a very high-priced item when
Yeah.
it was purchased for the jail.
Yeah.
Extremely. It was like $250,000 or something.
Yeah, no, I
it was
agree, and I think
a
when
lot.
Belinda talked about this, the one thing I liked about it is portable.
Yeah.
Because, we've had some
So-
issues at certain schools, like, but even a football game,
You
I
can
could
take the
see.
ball games.
Go ahead, yeah, I can see
That's
it'd
the
be very
thing.
useful there.
Yeah, and Captain Abrams, he is our resident expert as it relates to this technology. He's done the research on it, read up on it, has talked to school officials just about this, and if we were able to get this, would we be able to use it? And he has a lot of confidence that this piece of equipment would be very useful for our schools and at other events that we may have throughout the county. I can get more information and get it to you all if you want it, when you need it.
And I don't know enough about the breadth of what it can detect because there are other things that don't have metal in them that are
Sure.
as injurious to anyone as a weapon could be.
Right.
But I know as technology evolves, and it has evolved multiple times since that last unit was purchased.
Yeah.
As we start thinking about things and knowing that things have age on them,
Yeah.
and maybe they're not picking up everything, or maybe they're picking up everything, but at some point, it's going to reach a life
Yeah.
expectancy. So just thinking about those things
Yeah, no, it's
for the
good. It's a good
future to
conversation.
have a little placeholder for our budget
If-
upcoming.
If and when the court wants me to gather some information and get it to you all to read, I'll be glad to do
I
that.
think it would be a great thing, just to be proactive.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Thank you all.
Squire Tanner.
I'll be very brief. Obviously, I'm for this. I'm sure everybody here is. But I would, following up on what Squire Sebastian said, will it detect? Will it detect bullets? Will it detect just the gun? I mean, how sensitive, I guess the real question is, how sensitive is it? And do they provide that kind of information with the product?
Yeah, I'm going to be very straight with you in that this just came to my attention very recently, and we've just started the process on this. I don't know 100% all of the things. My understanding is that it uses AI and some other technology that I'm just starting on this. I don't really know everything that it will do.
I think these
But
would be
it
good
is more
questions
than
for Chief
just
Abrams,
metal.
Cap Abrams. Yeah, that'd be good questions for him. And at the end of the day, I think the only reason they're coming to us to partnership is because probably the municipality has to be the one to apply for it. So.
Yes, that's correct.
I have full confidence in the sheriff's department. If this is what they think they need, then, I think we support it. Squire Wisman, do you have your hand up?
Yeah, Belinda, you may not know, but I was along the lines of Squire Sebastian, wanting to know exactly what it is. Is the grant restrictive of a certain type or proprietary system or specific piece of equipment, or does it have the variability of allowing us to search out for generally something that meets the specification?
Well, there are priority areas that are somewhat vague. I did check, and they said that this type of equipment is allowed, but it wasn't specifically this one piece of equipment, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So if you want me to look into a broader range of things, I can do that. The gun safety is just 1 out of 5 areas. So if you had something else in mind, I'd be happy to check on it.
Not at all. I'm just thinking that there's probably a lot of variation of types of equipment and individual brand names that are able to do different things, that we have some variability to the questions that are being answered that we need follow-up with that we don't have up front.
Right. And
unless there's a specific piece of equipment that the sheriff's office has decided they want specifically to interface with some other,
right. And
cameras and other things in the schools that you
Right.
know specifically or something.
I don't think there's anything that would interface with the cameras, but what I will say is if we were to get this funding, we would have to put together a bid packet and bid the project, and at that point, we could probably get some real details and specificity on what we wanted to do and what is out there and is available.
And we can understand better by that point what options we have, so if we have
Yes.
some.
And at the end of the day, this is what Sheriff's Department does. I have full confidence in what Captain Abrams thinks he's gonna need, so, Belinda, thank you.
Sure. I'm just going to stand right here because I'm next.
Go ahead, you got another one.
So next I have an agreement with HMB for Work Order 2 to provide engineering, design, advertising, and bidding services for the US 460 Shared Use Path Project. This project will construct a 10-foot wide, 1/2 mile long shared use path on US 460 from Stedmantown Lane to Huntley Ridge East Apartments. In 2024, the county entered into agreement with H&B to provide the county with engineering services, and this agreement will exist as a distinct work order under that contract. And the cost of the agreement is $74,404. Fiscal Court will be reimbursed 80% of that cost with $59,523 in federal funds. The required local match is $14,881. I checked with Amy, and a budget transfer will be required. The Transportation Cabinet District 5 has approved the proposed hours and fees, since it is a project that runs through them, and we're just asking Fiscal Court to allow the judge to sign this work order. And just to kind of remind you guys, you all did approve the funds on February 26th, and then we had a supplemental agreement for additional funds on June 4th, which were also approved. So the funding is in place and ready to go.
Gordon Akers, would you like to speak on this at all? I know you've been pretty involved in it.
I mean, all I will say is I hope everybody supports it because it's really, really needed.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ever drive out there,
It's amazing amount of people that are walking up and down.
it
Shoulder
really
Road.
is,
I can't
and
believe
it's
somebody hasn't been killed
scary.
yet.
Like, it's really scary.
Yeah.
especially during school.
Yes, I mean, it's really, really scary, so I'm hopeful everybody's supportive of this. Thank you for working on it.
And I think the traffic's only gonna increase as we build onto our park, because that's, not just to the school too, but, the park's right next to it, so.
And the new school.
Yeah, and the new school, yeah.
In the schools, yeah.
Linda, thank you. Look at Autumn, how excited she is. I mean, she jumped, I didn't call her yet, she jumped right up, I mean.
I've got to
she's
move in up here. I've
ready
got to
to
do
go.
several items, so
How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well.
Great, thank you for being with us.
Yes. All right.
Alrighty.
So my first item is item number 10. This is authorization to approve a vehicle as surplus and list for sale on Gov Deals. This is for a, see, I'm already out of order. What have I done? This is one of our electrical inspectors. In last fiscal year, we purchased a new vehicle for one of them. So this is their old vehicle. It is a 2006, thank you, Chevy truck, and we are asking to surplus that. It's probably in pretty rough shape, I think, at this point, and
We do not want it used anywhere else in county government.
Right.
It needs to leave the premises.
yes.
It's costing money. Okay?
Right.
Next.
My next item is authorization to award the bid for purchase of property known as Tract 5B at 67 Buena Vista Drive to Duckers Lake Development Phase 1 LLC, Ryan F. Parsons and Eric Meyer. This is a portion of the former golf course property. This bidder has already purchased other property in the area, and they have been working on development. There was a little bit of an issue at one point, I think, with the boundary of that property, and so this is kind of cleaning that up to allow them to continue their project for some patio home type development.
For the record, the problem wasn't with our property. The problem
Correct.
was the piece that he bought from a private individual. The survey was incorrect. So this will enable them, I believe they said they were building 52 or 53 like high-end condos to kind of match the brick ones that are there. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. That's what-
And, sorry, I was
keep
going to
going.
continue that they
Yep.
did offer a purchase price of $10,000 for Tract 5B, but they have indicated that they're willing to negotiate and subsequently offered $15,000. So that's what the dollar amount that we're looking at tonight.
I had a nice conversation with Ryan, so yes, we're at 15. Squire Wisdom.
Judge, I asked previously about all of these properties. Do we have an appraisal of this parcel specifically? I would remind the court, we cannot sell county-owned property for less than the appraised value. And I asked several times to have an appraisal of all of these properties, especially when we were moving forward with anything. We did sell the golf clubhouse, previous clubhouse, for slightly less than appraised value because it was for an economic development purpose, which is one caveat that we can sell for less than the appraised value, but we don't have the appraisal.
We had an appraisal done on all of it, all the tracks, if you remember. It was $5,000 an acre. So they're offering $15,000 for 1.4 acres.
It's not part of the record here, and I couldn't pull that up. I moved a lot of things during the flood, so I couldn't put my finger on it. So I was just asking what that was, because I don't have it, if we have that.
No, we have it because we paid, I think it cost us $8,000 or $9,000 to have that commercial appraisal done when we did all those tracks. And it came in right at $5,000 an acre.
This is double what they're appraised for.
It's triple.
Yep.
I just wanted to verify that we have the appraisal on this specific parcel and that this is more than that amount, because I don't have that here.
Sure.
So.
I'm appreciative that we're going to be getting some more housing. Okay, Autumn, next.
All right. The next item is authorization to award Winterwood Development LLC the contract for the development of workforce housing on county-owned property at 501 Holmes Street. You'll recall we recently did an RFP for this project. This was the one proposal that we did receive. I'm happy to answer any questions that you all have.
Quite a number, Judge.
I'm sorry?
Quite a number of questions, if I can just kind of continue here for a second. We had some discussion. We had another member of the public come in and request that we not file for low-income housing tax credits or other credits through the Housing Corporation. It was my understanding that we were not going to this year.
Two different
This has a application for 2026, but I wanted to verify that we're not competing
This is for next year. They're doing it for this year. Plus, when we had a meeting at Kentucky Housing Authority, since they are doing more than 70 units, their proposal goes into a different pot to be drawn from. So we would not, even if we did it this year, we would not be competing with them. There's a potential where the city has an RFP out in Stedman Town that they might be competing, but we are not. And they're going for it, their deadline's in October of this year for what they're trying to do over there, for the gentleman who came in here. So this is actually for next year, but it's a good bid. And so I thought it would just go ahead, commit to it and get this, to show that we are, looking for some affordable housing, and we're gonna put our money where our mouth is. Squire?
Well, and I just want to say, I mean, I've been a part of all of the housing conversations and.
Have you?
Stop. To your chagrin, probably, but anyway. This is a really good company. I've worked with them several times before in other areas of the state, and they're really good. And if we don't make this decision now, they will move on to another project, and I really, really don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
I'm super excited about this project.
Yeah, because in addition to just building, I think, 45 or 40 units, they're talking about building a potential clinic and things like that with it. So, that would all come once we get into the weeds of it. They still have to hire an architect, engineers, and the reason they didn't put it in for this year is because they just didn't have enough time by the time we committed to, putting the land up. So, I was still happy that they replied to the RFP. It is for next year, but again, I think it's good for us to go ahead and get it going, and we're committing, and they can be ready to go. And we're not going to wait on anybody.
So how many units was this for?
They still have to design it. But, I think roughly
30 to 50 is what the proposal
30
says.
to 50. Yeah, I think 40.
30
I'm guessing right around 40.
Yeah. So they still have to design it.
Yeah.
Yep.
9 one-bedroom, 12 two-bedroom, and 9 three-bedroom is what's in their scope of the proposal, so.
Well, and if you don't mind,
Go ahead,
I'm
Scott.
sorry.
No, you're fine.
I think it's a proposal,
Yeah.
and I think that we may need to make some changes with that, but I don't think it's gonna be anything major. It's just how many 3 bedrooms do we actually need? How many 2 do we actually need? Hopefully, we're gonna put some kind of up for really difficult to house folks, that otherwise could not be housed probably.
We talked about a
So-
certain percentage for veterans.
Yeah.
There's a lot that we can do, and
Yeah.
we are the ones that kind of help dictate it once we get to that point. So they're very willing to work with us as far as, if we want to designate certain amounts for certain
And they've done that in
situations.
other areas, and it's
Yeah.
worked out really well, so
Yeah.
I'm super excited about this.
That's a great thing. I appreciate the court being willing to jump into some affordable housing, and we've talked about this for many years on that piece of land there. But I'm glad we kept it, and it really became useful as we built our road department facility to be able to park everything there. So everything's timing in this life, and I think it's time to build some affordable housing.
It's past.
Squire Wisman.
Judge, I had several questions, sorry, if I
Oh,
can kind
okay.
of work through a few of these things. I just want to put some of this out in the public, in the record, because it's a big package, it's a big move, and we've not really had any public conversation about this just yet, right? I had expressed a desire, and I hope we can mandate that this company, if this project, or if this is voted on and moves forward, we'll have some conversation with the adjoining neighbors and the community around them. This is a fairly sizable project that backs up to a couple of existing residential and commercial properties out there, and is in the city district. It's, even though it's a county property, it's right smack in the city. So one thing I wanted to show or express is that this is a 50-year mandated federal partnership that we would have with this corporation, which, we have a bit of a scope of a contract here, but it's a pretty serious thing that if this company ever dissolves, doesn't maintain the standards of verifying low income, it's a situation where we have a governmental, publicly owned piece of property that's going to be leased to a nonprofit to build and run with a 50-year lifespan that's going to outlast all of us. So I just want to make sure we're really careful about the contract and the expectations that are going to be put in place with that. Most of these projects are, and I'm fairly familiar, I've done quite a bit of work in this area too, that are generally never governmental owned, or if they are governmental owned, they're through something like our housing corporation that is going to exist indefinitely. So I'm just a little bit concerned, and supportive, of course, of building some property there. I would have rather went through the avenue of like our housing corporation that could have brought down federal money and built the whole thing without us having a dime out of pocket, even to own the property. But that's a whole other conversation, I know, Kelly. But as we progress with this, that one kind of scares me a little bit, that it needs to be fully understood, the rights, roles, and responsibilities of the local government to hold that property for the next 50 years, and this nonprofit and expectations, and there needs to be some significant reporting requirements back to this body as the landowner, because ultimately we could be responsible if they fail to comply with any federal standards. And those are ever changing, right? So I don't know how we do that. We bring up all the time that we don't want contracts to last more than 4 years. So I think we need probably some kind of annual reporting. And I'm just stream of consciousness kind of thinking some of these things through that I want to see in the final contract for this project that are not defined as part of this scope of bid just yet. So, and otherwise, I hope we can get some much needed affordable housing, although some of this will be dictated by the income levels and the federal standards as they change. But you know, 1 bedroom, they propose $934, a 2-bedroom, $1,114, and a 3-bedroom, $1,282 is still really expensive in this community when people are needing 2 and 3 bedrooms at $600 to $800 a month. So I don't know if we can do anything to maybe help offset some of those amounts too, by helping out with some of the cost of the project. But I'm just expressing that I hope we can, because we really need some extremely low-level affordable housing in this community, right? And Kelly, I know you're going to be working on that.
Do you have a question?
I'm sorry.
You turned the mic on. I thought you wanted to say something.
I was just going to say that this is based on income somewhat. You've got to have a certain level of income. You can't have too much income, that kind of thing. But I think it's at least getting to the right, getting closer to what we actually need in this town. And, you know, we have heard over the last year many times that we need every kind of housing.
Yeah.
And my, you know, just who I am, what I've done in my life makes it really important to me to make sure that we have, you know, we've built lots of $2,000 a month housing, and we need that. We'll move into that, but we don't have this.
Yeah.
And so I think it's kind of in between that kind of housing and, you know, the housing authority housing.
Yeah,
you know, it's right there in the middle. And so I think I think it's really important. I think it's a good place to start. It's not perfect, but it's a good place to start.
Yeah. I'd expressed at one point that I wanted to put $1 million of our funding towards low-income housing, extremely low-income housing, and I thought this was the property to do it. And I'm still supportive of putting some cash towards a project if it would create really accessible, low-income, ultra-low-income housing options in this community. So, you know, something to be considered.
All right,
They already operate here in Frankfurt, don't they? Winterwood?
Not here, no, I don't believe they do. Do they? Where is it?
They run the
Who said yes?
Emily and Elizabeth.
You're right, you're absolutely right. Yes, they do, which is not what I'm used to them running, so it's hard to know. Thank you, Penny.
They're rent control and senior.
Yeah.
All right, the next item is a second reading and approval of an ordinance for a zone change at 190 Democrat Drive from Professional Office District PO to General Industrial IG. The property is identified as PVA map number 08700000042.00. Again, this is a second reading, so we are asking you to give second reading to approve this ordinance, affirming the Planning Commission's recommendation of approval for this zone change. The next item is another second reading. This is, I'm sorry.
We're going to stop there.
I have a question.
Yes, Squire Sebastian.
How many warehouses are in Franklin County? It's just a general question.
I don't have a good answer for that.
How would we ascertain, how would we find that out?
We would probably need to work in partnership with the PVA, I'm guessing, to try to examine that. I'm not sure how warehousing would be classified in their database. I'm thinking that that's probably a path forward to doing that, kind of cross-referencing zoning and PVA, and then just looking at aerial maps to identify structures that appear to be warehouses.
think that we have anything beyond that, any kind of registry for warehouses or anything.
You know, I'm still confused why our industrial park is professional office. That makes no sense to me, you know, so.
Yeah, it's one of the worst things that was
Yeah.
done.
Yeah,
I don't know who
so-
did it, don't care, because
No.
it's already done, but it's terrible.
No, I'm appreciative that somebody's wanting to put some life back into this piece of land, so, okay.
All right. The next item is second reading and approval of an ordinance to affirm the Planning Commission's recommendation to deny a zone map amendment at 1120 Duckers Road from rural residential RR to general commercial district CG. The property is identified as a portion of the property described in Deed Book 507, page 574. And more specifically identified as Tract 1, shown on Plat Cabinet N, Slide 71, in the office of the county clerk.
All righty.
Right. My last item tonight is first reading of an ordinance amending the table of special ordinances, Section 1 zoning map changes of the Franklin County Code of Ordinances for a portion of the property, 47 acres, at 5700 through 5930 US 127 South, parcel number 053000004.00. A portion of the property, 70 acres, at 6238 US 127 South, parcel 053000007.00, and a portion of the property, 57.696 acres, at 2024 Keaton Lane, parcel 053000008.00, from rural residential to planned commercial, planned industrial, PC.
Judge, if I may, I usually read on the first reading the existing and proposed zoning, if I can go through that, some of the record here. So the existing zoning, per the record, is Rural Residential District RR. Rural Residential District's purpose: this district is intended to establish and preserve a quiet, single-family home neighborhood free from other uses except those which are convenient to and compatible with the residences of such a neighborhood. This district is intended to be very low density and will customarily be located in areas where public sewer facilities are not available or planned. And the proposed zoning is Planned Commercial Development, PC. Planned Commercial Development's purpose: the purpose of this section is intended to encourage a unified grouping of commercial and/or industrial buildings which do not require or desire a central location. Definition: a planned commercial development is a building, structure, or grouping of buildings or structures constructed predominantly for commercial or industrial uses located on a lot or contiguous group of lots held under a single joint or common ownership or lease. Permitted uses: it is not the intent of the zone to restrict potential development by limiting uses. It's in planned commercial zones. Uses permitted may include offices, commercial services, shopping centers, and light distribution centers, and ancillary residential dwellings. In planned industrial zones, such uses permitted may include manufacturing, distribution, research and development offices, and subordinate services. Since some permitted uses may be incompatible with others, the developer of a planned commercial complex shall provide the Planning Commission with a list of specific uses proposed in his or her development, which shall be compatible with each other and neighboring uses. In general, planned commercial industrial development shall fall into one of the following categories: 1, neighborhood retail centers; 2, community shopping centers; 3, regional shopping centers; 4, planned office parks; 5, research and development parks; 6, distribution and warehousing centers; and 7, industrial parks. And I will find the other items here, if you will bear with me. Actually, Judge, I wanted to ask a question, if I may. The typical scenario we have here is that everything is printed and distributed to us, and this is one of the few instances we had digital documents transferred to us, and I did have some trouble opening a couple of those. I finally got them, but I wanted to ask the court if everyone was able to access every single document and review it in its entirety from the digital link.
I didn't have a problem with it.
I mean, it was 12 documents and about 700 pages total, I think.
Closer to 900.
Yeah, that's why we didn't print them. No trees.
Sorry, I'm trying to reference, I brought a computer and printed what I could, but I wanted to try to read some of the rest of the record for the findings, but it'll take a second if anybody else has some comments or questions, Judge. I thought I had them in order. Well, while I'm looking for those, Judge, I'm concerned about a number of things. The entirety of the mass of this amount of information that we had to review. There's obviously a lot of public interest, a lot of public comments that have been sent our way, external to this meeting and since the Planning and Zoning Commission's decision, and a split vote. That was what I was trying to reference here, of 5-3 amongst the Planning Commission. So, Judge, I'm of the opinion we need to hold a public hearing to allow the public to have the right to communicate all of their concerns. This is, in my mind, a different situation than a typical zoning change because this is being requested by an entity that we create and administer in many ways and fund. And there were certain promises and items that were guaranteed to us at the beginning of this project, well, sorry, not the beginning of this project, when it was brought to us for a vote at the end of the year, the last meeting of the year, that we would have opportunity to have more input and be able to restrict either the income levels of potential jobs in the future, the developments, type of businesses that might locate, and a number of things. And somewhere here in the packet that I'm sorry, there's too many things to reference here. There is schematics of a site plan for development already in that, and my understanding was we were going to have an opportunity to have input on that process as well.
Everything has to come back to us no matter what happens out there. I think it's just a conceptual look at it.
But
they can't do anything without our approval moving forward.
So that's one of my questions, is how is that, typically we create a zone change, as long as whatever development fits within that zone change, this body never sees it again. Potentially, the Planning Commission sees a schematic or a development plan if it goes outside of the plan scope of the zone that they're in, but that doesn't always necessarily mandate that a developer has to come to the Planning Commission. They can alter a plan until the point that it meets the zoning specifications and then move forward.
If you remember, when we created that entity, it's in the bylaws that it has to come back to us before anything. That's why we put jobs and things like that on there. There's certain stipulations, so that's something that we voted on as a body.
But we also gave some directive. At the time, the conversation back in December was that a minimum of 1,500 jobs. I've seen it circulated that it's now 1,000. There was an income level of those jobs that was circulated amongst us in that meeting of a certain amount. I'm seeing a lesser amount at this point.
Where are you seeing that?
That's been part of the presentations about this whole thing. So regardless of those, this is about a planning change here to change a zone. I want to have a public hearing to allow the public to have input and to express their concerns and for us to fully vet those concerns. I have a lot of questions that still come out in some of these documents that I don't see answered within the scope of the Planning Commission's hearings. So I want to be able to ask those before we move forward. You know, this is a big step for our community. It has a lot of opposition. It has a lot of people that support it. And I think we deserve to give the public the right to have an opportunity to speak directly to us. This is not an opportunity where a private developer, like the last two issues, are requesting a zone change and have their plans, and they had their day in front of the Planning Commission. Again, this is a public entity that is created mutually by all of these bodies. There's a lot of concern, a lot of questions, and I feel like I can't answer most of those questions, unfortunately, like I would like to. And as an elected representative, I need to feel like I can always answer the majority of the questions the community has before I move forward on something. So We have time. This was just, I think, less than 60 days, or less than 30 days ago, am I right? That the final recommendation came from the Planning Commission, so we still have, 60 days before that holds. So we have plenty of time. It's not a rush situation here, and I want to have a public hearing so that we can vet those questions fully for ourselves, because this is, in many ways, an action by this body that predicated this whole thing. So I think we deserve to give that to the public.
Go ahead.
I'd just like to read the findings of fact in the staff report, if that's possible. Future land map use of the comprehensive plan. Property identifies the subject property with a planned commercial future lane use designation. A traffic study and concept plan included an application in conference with requirements from the request to appear before the planning commission. And it states, based upon the facts, staff recommends approval of this zone map amendment and the recommendation based upon the finding of the requested agreement with the current Franklin County comprehensive plan. So that is their finding of facts from the planning commission.
Okay. Go ahead,
I am struggling hard with this one. Y'all, I'm really struggling hard with this. And for that reason, I would also like to have a hearing, to be honest. I don't know, there's just something about this that is just not sitting well with me. And, I have heard, I've gotten lots of emails, lots of phone calls. I feel like that we're not always great about listening to our constituents and allowing them space to talk. And I think that that's just necessary, at least for me. It's necessary to allow people to be heard. And I don't, from my understanding of talking to people, they don't really feel very heard. So for that reason, I'm going to agree with Squire Wisman on this.
Thank you, Judge. Would we, when we get to this in the voting session, would that be the opportunity to discuss having, I don't think we would discuss it here and make the change to the agenda. We have to make that change to the agenda in the voting session. Is that right?
Well, I think we do it right now.
I'm just trying to make sure I understand the process, because I don't want to say something here that,
If we were here.
because I've been told I can't
I
say
think
things.
we've discussed before,
So-
that would be just voted upon in the voting session. Yeah,
Okay.
in order to have that hearing. Charles prerogative on what you want to do or not.
Judge, if I could, just to recap, at the last meeting, because Squire Sebastian was on a remote and Squire Dykus couldn't join that remote, we did have quite a bit of conversation at our last meeting about sort of coming to some sort of agreement amongst all of us that either we wanted, and to verbalize it, either we wanted to have a public hearing or we wanted to go off the record at the first reading from now on, and just to put that as part of our record to determine what each of us prefer to do. Of course, the majority takes that and goes from there, but we somewhat generally agreed, I guess, without taking any action, that we would all vocalize at the first reading to do that, and agreed generally it's not a good idea at the second reading to then have a
Right, but
decide to make that
we'll do
so.
that in voting session.
Yeah.
Which is what I just asked.
Yes, correct.
Right?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. But I think that the discussion is proper here.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to make sure and I don't.
Squire Tanner.
Don't have any questions. I withdraw my.
Okay, thank you. I guess for me, I know we've received a lot of inquiries, but I do feel like, for me, when there's a hearing, it's because something wasn't done properly. The planning commission heard everybody. There was nothing added into the record that we know of after the fact. I think everything was done well. They had a stenographer, it was professionally done. They did a great job. Hopefully you all attended the thing at Kentucky State University that they put on that explained the entire project, and were there to answer any questions. There's been a lot of opportunity for public to speak, for us to ask questions, for the public to ask questions. So I understand where everybody is. I'm just letting you all know, where we are. I know the last hearing we did was because we didn't feel like things were handled correctly at the planning and zoning meeting, and that kind of justified a hearing. So that's kind of where I am as far as, I don't know if we're going to learn anything new
But Judge, if you will, not to us. We've not, this body, who created this entire thing effectively, has not had the opportunity to hear within a session that we're all together from the public at all, other than when we created this new industrial authority through ordinance back in December. I mean, we've not had the opportunity since then for the public to come speak to us about their desires, their wishes, their support, or lack of support, or what the scope of this thing is looking like, because it has morphed a little bit, to my understanding, since we had those initial conversations.
Right.
And we promised the public back then that we created this thing, but we would give public opportunity to have input and to follow along the process and give us input, because it ultimately falls back to us. Even though we have 3 other municipalities involved in it, it ultimately comes to us to make the decisions to move forward with this thing and to put up the money to support it. Now, this is the zone change, and you know, one of my caveats, and I asked back in December, is that, you know, there were some promises made about minimum numbers of jobs, uses of land, types of industry that would come here, and all those kinds of things. And typically, you know, my preference anyway would be, when a zone change is made, that there would be some additional considerations that would be put in place about some of those concerns that typically wouldn't go into a zoning issue at all. But because this is our industrial authority, I feel like this is the opportunity that we formally express our expectations. Some of those were sent to us as recommendations, or that we can do this and that, but we've never verbalized that our expectations are that X, Y, and Z are met. Now, that can't be part of the traditional zoning change, but in this instance, I would argue it is our opportunity to express those formally, that we want to see whatever those things are. And that may come as, you know, some safeguarding of the adjoining farm property in this instance specifically. Setbacks are usually part of that, retention, impact to surrounding properties. I mean, all of those things are typical considerations of a zoning change that aren't part of this record at all. The Planning Commission didn't, to my reading, didn't make any of those caveats. That typically comes, of course, with a development plan, but it can come now too. And I think we really need to look at some of those as part of this, if this moves forward.
I agree. Were you able to go to the Kentucky State University thing that was put on to answer questions?
I did not get to make it there, no.
Okay, so one of the things that they talked to me about is they're currently working on bylaws to put things in place like triple tree, plantings along residential berms. They're going to try to do more energy efficient, zero carbon. They're working on all those things currently right now. So it's one of the things I learned there that night. So, I mean, they're looking to be proactive and very selective. So.
They take direction from us.
Yeah.
But when do we get to give direction if we haven't met to express that direction? Because we haven't. I haven't had a single opportunity to have any input.
Have you been in any meetings?
I have not, in this body, to make a decision with a majority to express any requirements, regulations, any expectations that we want to see since that December meeting. That everything was hypothetical at that point in time, right? Mm-hmm. And there were some promises made, but, you know, promises are great until they aren't met, and then the elected body is holding the bag still to say, why weren't they met? Well, we never made them requirements.
Right.
So, and just if I can, Judge, just one thing we put in a budget to get some computers. I brought mine, my personal, with all the attachments today. But I really didn't like that we didn't receive the physical copies when we always receive the physical copies of all zone change issues. And I want to make sure that is either going forward, we either get computers so I can access all the documents in real time, or we get copies of them so that we can reference everything. You know,
Andrew's instructed today to order them, so they're coming. Were you able to watch the planning and zoning hearing that was taped? It was like 5.5 hours. I was asking.
I decided to go off this record that came to us.
But I guess, yeah, and this is just my opinion, you know, I mean, I think everyone who's either speaking for or against it were at that meeting and spoke. And so for me, I don't know what they would come in here and say different than they said that night. And they were either for or against it. I mean, there was a lot of people there. So, you know, again, that's just the way I feel, you know, so we'll talk about that in the voting session. Anyone else have anything, thoughts, concerns, comments on this agenda item before we move on?
Just one general question, Judge, that let's say is not related, but obviously it's related. Can I ask our planner, our application for zone changes says at the beginning that the applicant must be the property owner. In the previous two applications we just considered tonight, it doesn't say maybe, it doesn't say, anything else. It says in the physical application for a zone change that the property owner must be the applicant.
I
Now,
believe unless designated by somebody else.
that's not what the application says.
Our historic precedent has been that if a property owner provides permission to an applicant, that they can pursue the zone change request.
And is there any caveats or anything else related to that, or a requirement of what the letter must state, or?
No, we generally just ask for something that indicates that they are okay with them asking for, making the request.
Just wanted that's part of the record.
No different than, say, attorneys coming in here to represent somebody.
It's very typical for us to get that type of letter because a lot of times folks don't want to buy property before they know that they can have a zone change because it throws off their entire,
It just came
plan.
to my mind today that really should say owner or designated representative.
And we are working on updating our application materials.
Okay.
Just as a sidebar.
All right, Autumn, thank you.
We don't have an agreement, Judge, that we verbalized, and we said we'd start doing that
Our
next time.
county attorney said we're gonna do it in a voting session.
No, right now would be, as we've described in the last couple of meetings, right now would be the time to decide, do we want to proceed with a public hearing or not? And if we decide not as a majority, then it would go forward to the voting meeting to approve or let the first reading continue, right?
The way the ordinances are written, as far as voting, that has to be done in the voting session, not in a work session.
What
That's
item? Because I've made a proposal, and I've had at least a second of opinion to hold the public hearing. Of course, that has to happen, but I'm just asking for a mutual feeling of public hearing or not here before we get to the voting meeting. And
I mean, if they want to express, but like I said, it sounds like that you want to make a motion to have a hearing, and it sounds like you're going to get a second, so the proper time to make those kind of motions is, as far as the new business, and to vote on those is in the voting session. Like I said, that's by ordinance, the way these meetings are set up.
Okay. We'll do it then.
So we're voting?
No, in the voting session. We'll talk about it. All righty.
Make sure I understand the rules.
I believe Amy is with us. How are you doing tonight?
Good.
Thank you for being with us.
So my first agenda abstract is our first budget transfer of the year. I have 3 transfers, 2 that were requested. I'm sorry, 1 that was requested from the road department. The other 2, I put in the abstract, the detail.
Questions for Amy on this agenda item?
Amy, could you just go over the interlocal with the city for the inspections, just how that resulted in a city overage?
Sure. So on a quarterly basis, we compile all of the receipts for the city electrical inspections that we receive. Those come to us as revenue, and the agreement says that we can keep 25% of those receipts, and the city's responsible for 50% of the salary and benefits. They also have a vehicle allowance that they provide for us. So when the revenues exceed what the expenses are for the city, then we owe them. So typically, well, since we've done this, it's been about half and half. So in this case, it was a little bit more, and I didn't budget for that much, so that's why we're doing a budget transfer.
I'm assuming this is because of flooding. Did the city give us any reasoning?
No, it's not. We had 1 large electrical inspection for the new development.
Okay.
So that caused the receipts to go really high.
Thank you. All righty, next.
The treasurer's report, I've included in your packet the revenue and the expenses as of July 24th.
Brad Blackburn, I'm sorry.
I had a question on the previous agenda item. You say it was a large one. Was it a state inspection?
No. It was electrical inspection for one of the developments out, I don't, what's the new development? Addicts, thank you, thank you. So the treasurer's report, revenue and expenses, I'd be happy to answer any questions you have on that.
Seeing none, next.
Thank you.
So now we go, Kim, on payment of claims. Squire Sebastian, I see your hand up.
Yes, thank you, Judge. On the first page, account 015070-323 engineering services. My assumption is the first one has to do with the safe streets, right?
Yes.
Okay. The second one, Buffalo Trace Break Room. Let me understand what that is.
Adam, do you know more detail about that?
It just doesn't give us enough information to know what it is.
Right, so there is an ongoing permit application with our building inspector and through our floodplain coordinator for a project at Buffalo Trace for a break room facility. So I'm guessing that that would be that HMB provided us with technical review services.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. My next question is on page 4. Under professional services, which is 019100-332. Can somebody explain what is the need to have an individual rent a post office box for the purposes of county business rather than the county directly renting a P.O. box? Help me understand that.
Ethics Commission, I'm not sure.
I mean, no one's going to have a key to the box except the person, so.
Max, you know if that's anything that's
Understand that.
required, why they would have a PO box instead of it being sent here? Okay.
I mean, while we're reimbursing a person for a county purpose mailbox.
Yeah. That's a good question. Yep.
I'll look into it.
Thanks.
Which number is that? I don't see it. Oh, okay.
They could be. I mean, I clearly understand the need for this, but
Why is that?
but why isn't the county renting the box
Yeah.
and the key given to XYZ?
Yeah.
That's how we do it in every other instance.
Yep.
So I'm not really sure what this was.
And obviously, this is something in place before we got
Just
here, so yeah, but it's a
continuing to
good
bring it
call.
up.
Yep. Any other questions for our clerk on payment of claims? Alrighty, authorization to go into closed session per KRS 61.8101F, discussions or hearings which might lead to the appointment, discipline, or dismissal of an individual employee.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. We're in closed session, please.
Can we take 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Do I have a motion to go back into open session?
So moved.
Clerk, did you get that? Yes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. We are in open session, court. Next agenda item is authorization to hire a new firefighter. Does anybody have any questions, concerns, comment on this agenda item?
Judge, related, could we just ask Chief to come up and speak about the new hiring process that's now launched?
To promote, what we're doing, yeah.
Yeah, we'll just want to put it out there to the public that the fire department is currently accepting applications for a new firefighter hiring list process. The deadline to apply, I believe, is August 22nd, and it's listed on the Facebook page for the fire department. So it's Franklin County Fire Department on Facebook. Just feel free to look it up, and links are there for the applications, and it kind of gives the instructions if anybody's interested.
Good deal. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Alrighty, next agenda item, I'm going to ask Mr. Duke Wilburn to come up. Alrighty, we're looking to hire a new light equipment operator. Duke, you want to say anything about this gentleman?
Yes, I would highly recommend approval for this individual. He's got his CDL, and I think he'll hit the ground running. I've known him for several years. He's a good man, so.
Okay. Anybody have any questions, concerns, comment on this individual? Alrighty, Duke, thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, next is other business. Does anybody have any other business tonight? Squire Sebastian.
Thank you, Judge. I just want to bring back up to the court that there have been 2 sections of the administrative code shared with the body for just review. And so I just want to call that back to everybody's attention that there's a matter to review. So we haven't heard anything or set a time to do that. Maybe at some point we want to try and set a time to at least whether the body, whatever the decision of the body is to look at the personnel section first and then the other part, or however the court wants to proceed, but we need to, that's been laying out there for a bit of time, so.
Is there
Just want it to follow everybody's
let's just talk about that for 2 seconds. Anybody have any preference how we do it? I can schedule it another couple weeks. I think it's enough time. But as far as do one at a time or do them both together?
I prefer to do the personnel first and then get to the other later. I'm still working on through the personnel. I do have a question. I wonder about at what point would we publish a draft document for feedback from our employees? I want to make sure that they have an opportunity to put eyes on any changes that might affect them too.
Well, that's why we have department heads in the meetings.
Not with all of us, but I'm imagining after we've come together as a body and created a draft document, then it would be circulated with all of our input at that point. But just want to make sure that's upcoming as part of the process.
Spartan?
If I understand correctly, that will be presented either together or separate or however we decide to do it, which is fine with me as long as we go forward with it because there's a lot of work on both of them. But once we do that, it's going to be an ordinance form. The first reading of the ordinance, then it's available to anybody to read all they want to.
Yeah.
So then that can be distributed to the, not that I'm trying to hide anything from the personnel, but that's the time they can get it and read it for a week or 2 weeks.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll go ahead and schedule one first, and we'll get that figured out, and I'll send it out to you all. We'll go from there.
Thank you.
No, thank you for bringing that up. It's good. Any other business before we move into voting session? All righty, let's go.
Should I now? Instead
Well,
of at the time that it happens?
To add it to the agenda for voting and
We do that when we get to that item? Wouldn't we do it then? I know it's not an item, but when we approach it, before we take that item up, since there's been considerable discussion, wouldn't we do it then? I'm asking because it seems like we've done it multiple ways, I guess. So maybe this helps clear a path.
Got a question about procedure.
Squire Tanner.
So if there is a motion and a second to add it to the agenda and it fails, then that's it. That's it, as far as public hearing.
Correct.
Or is that?
That's correct.
So can we do it this way? Can I speak, Max? How about if we go ahead and roll call in, and then we'll let him do that sort of actual voting session. Is that okay? Before I even start? Okay? Okay. So this is our July 30th, 2025 voting session. Clerk, please call roll.
Squire Sebastian.
Yes.
Squire Blackburn.
Present.
Squire Dacus.
Here.
Squire Harrod.
Here.
Here, yes.
Squire Tanner.
Here.
Squire Wisman.
Present.
Judge Mueller.
Present. Thank you, Clerk. Squire Wisman, would you like to go ahead and...
Judge, I'd like to add an action item to the agenda to add a public hearing regarding the 127 Industrial Park zoning change, and to effectively withstand or hold off the first reading in favor of the public hearing.
Okay, I'm going to ask, is there a second?
Second.
So then, Max, you want to go ahead and call for a vote right now, or you? Okay. So this is to see if we're going to add this to the agenda or not. Right? Just making sure. Just, I'm walking slow here.
Can you do a roll call vote, Judge?
Yeah, going to? Yeah. Clerk, please call roll.
Squire Sebastian.
The motion is to have a public hearing, correct? Correct. Yes.
Squire Blackburn.
I want to explain my vote. I've read almost 900 pages, and I've watched everything. I don't know that there's more to be said. I'm a no.
Squire Dacus.
Yes, and I would like to throw something out there as well. I'm voting this way to make sure that I have all of the information that I need before I make a decision on this, because I think it is maybe the most difficult one I've had since I've been on the court, just for me individually. And I think it's the fair thing to do for people. I also have a question, and I don't know when I can ask it about. It's not about anything in the record. It's not any of that. But I need to ask it, and I'm trying to figure out the best time to ask it. I guess I'll just leave it kind of general. And you tell me to hush if I'm not allowed to ask this. I know some things have been agreed to as far as just safety and environmental stuff. You know, I know that there have been lots of things that have been agreed to. I don't know, and those things make me feel a lot better. I'm not saying I distrust anybody, but things happen. I would really like to have those agreed to. However, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how that works. If I can, am I making any sense? Like, I want to make sure that those safeguards are there before I vote on anything else. And I'm not sure how to make sure that that happens. Does anybody have an answer for me?
I guess I'm unclear on exactly what you're asking for. As far as when you say safeguards,
Yes.
you're talking about safeguards that the entity that was established, are you wanting to see what those are?
No, I know what they are.
Okay.
I know what this commission has agreed to.
As far as in their bylaws, okay?
So I want to make certain that those things are held, that those happen. And I don't know, I don't know how to make sure that happens, but that's super important to me. And I'm not trying to be a pain, I want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing for people who have called me and told me how upsetting this is for them and all of the things that they're thinking may happen because of this zone change.
Can I speak to the zone change process a little bit, maybe?
Absolutely, if you can help me, please do.
We're getting a little out there.
Yeah, we are.
We're really in the voting session.
I'm sorry.
Now. So
Yeah,
this
I'm
is-
sorry, I should have asked earlier.
We can talk after.
Yeah, I need
Yeah.
that
No,
answer.
that's all good, yeah. Okay, who's next on the voting?
Squire Harrod.
My vote is no. I don't want to see a public hearing. The reason being, I watched, I reviewed, I've talked I've talked to both sides. I understand, I think, in depth what the process is, and that's how I explain my vote.
Squire Tanner?
I'm also a no vote. There's hundreds of pages of documents that's been sent to us to review. There's nothing else that can be said. I don't see how you could make up anything else to say, just to be honest about it. There might be some things you're uncomfortable about, and that's in the documents, if there is. So I don't think a public hearing will add one thing that's not already there. They've heard it in the planning commission since June the 10th. Y'all been to Kentucky State. I did not go there. There's been a meeting or two there. But I don't want to go through all that. But anyway, I just don't see how there could be anything added to it at all.
Squire Westman?
Yes.
Judge Mueller?
No. Motion fails. Authorization for approval of minutes from the regular meeting of July 16, 2025.
I'll make the motion as
Amended, sorry.
Yes,
I
please.
forgot to write that down.
Yep.
Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Come on, guys. Let's do that again.
No.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Thank you. Is there a nay?
Nay.
Okay. Did you get that? Squire Wisdom was a nay.
Yes.
All righty.
Judge, I'll just explain, again, I constantly speak about this. We have a voting meeting and effectively a separate business meeting that never gets anything recorded. We just had 2 hours of discussion in a work session that not a single word will be reflected in our minutes about any directive, theory, mutual agreement, anything. I think we have to come up with a better way of that, not even really like a roll call of the members present until we get to the voting meeting. So we've got to do better about that, and I keep persisting, and I keep voting no, and we don't have any changes, so I'll continue to vote no until we have a better resolve.
All right, thank you. Authorization for approval of minutes from the special meeting of July 23rd, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Abstain. I was not available at that meeting, therefore I
Okay.
can't vote.
And nay.
Thank you, Squire. And then nay. Did you get that, clerk?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. Authorization to receive the report of the audit of the Franklin County Fiscal Court Sheriff Settlement 2023, taxes for a period September 1, 2023 through August 31, 2024. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to approve the surplus of the sheriff's vehicles for trade-in and/or gov deals. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to renew the lease agreement with Buffalo Trace Properties LLC for livestock compost facility from September 16, 2025 to September 16, 2026.
Judge, there was a typo in the agenda, just wanted to make sure it's not 20,225.
I'm sure she's fixed that.
Yeah.
I fixed it.
We've made comment about that.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All the opposed say nay. Motion passes.
Judge, I think I'm going to say nay on that one, just because I think we have some breaches that I'm concerned about, and we did ask that it come back and be revised for this year, and it wasn't, so.
Okay. Authorization to approve a resolution approving the projects recommended by District 5 maintenance staff of the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet for 2025-2026 Rural Secondary
So
Program.
moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to approve a resolution authorizing the county judge executive to make the application to the Kentucky State Justice and Public Safety Cabinet for a Federal Bureau State Crisis Intervention Program grant.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. I'm making up words. Authorization to approve the scope of the work and fee proposed under the existing agreement with HMB for the provision of the professional engineering services in connection with the US 460 Shared Use Path Project.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Too many meetings today, I'm sorry. Authorization to approve a vehicle as surplus and list for sale on gov deals.
So moved. Second.
Did you get that, clerk?
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes.
Judge, can I request on the next, can I ask that the documents that were in the packet be amended to reflect the appraised value? And with that, I'll submit it first for the next one. So sorry, I actually got ahead of you reading it, but
That's fine. I'm gonna say with appraisal, how's that?
yeah.
Everybody okay with that? We have it, we'll pull it up, we just had it done. Authorization to award a bid to Duckers Lake Development Phase 1 LLC sole bidder for the purchase property known as Tract 5B located at 67 Buena Vista Drive.
So moved.
With appraisal.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to award a bid to Winterwood Development LLC sole bidder for the development of workforce housing on county-owned property at 501 Home Street.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Second reading and approval of an ordinance amending the table of ordinances, section 1, zoning map changes of the Franklin County Code of Ordinances for a 5.00 acre portion property located at 190 Democratic Drive from Professional Office District PO to General Industrial District IG. The property is identified as PVA map number 087-00-00-042.00.
So moved.
Second.
You get that?
Yes.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Thank you. Second reading and approval of an ordinance amending the table of special ordinances, section 1, zoning map changes of the Franklin County Code of Ordinances for a 1.75 acre tract located at 1120 Duckers Road from rural residential RR to general commercial district CG. The property is identified as portion of the property described in deed book 507, page 574. The property is more specifically identified as tract 1 as shown on plat cabinet N, slide 7-1 in the office of the Franklin County Clerk.
Judge, question?
I have one too.
If I could. This is a second reading for the denial,
Yep.
or the approval of the denial. The recommendation by the Planning Commission was for denial. We're approving that recommendation,
That is correct.
Just wanted to verify for the public. It reads a little differently, or what's
Okay.
worded?
It could be, it's confusing how it reads.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
it is.
Because
So
it
moved.
needs to,
You want to change some words in it real quick?
Yes.
Do y'all feel better?
yes.
All right, what
It
do you want
is,
to
it
say?
is really confusing,
Yeah.
I think, the way it's written.
So this is basically, so just so anybody watching, the Planning Commission denied this zone change. So what this court is voting on is, do we approve the denial or do we want to overturn the denial?
I would
But in order to
suggest,
overturn that denial, you're going to have to have a public hearing and find it a fact.
Approve the denial.
so can we, County Attorney, can we
You don't have to have
change,
a public
just vote
hearing. You
no
can
on
use
it.
the same record.
We go off record.
You can still go on the same record.
can we change the word approval to denial? Would that make this clearer? Second reading and denial of an ordinance, would that make it clear? I don't,
Trying to think.
Just trying to figure out,
But does that
because-
mean we're denying what
did
they
they
did?
deny? I don't know. What is
We're
the-
approving what they
Approving their
did.
denial.
Actually, we're approving what they
I would
did.
just
We want
put
to-
denial after approval.
Square Blackburn?
What we've generally done
We just want to.
We've done it
is
before.
we vote
You can put your hand
no. That's what we've done in the past on these.
Might be a vote no.
Yeah.
That might
This
be
is
correct.
authorization to approve and we vote no.
up. Right, that's definitely objective.
It's what we've done last 6 years anyway.
Yeah.
So just to be clear, if you want this zone change passed, you vote yes. If you want the planning commission's finding to stand, their recommendation, you vote no. Correct?
Okay.
Clear.
So
As long as
we're
we're,
all-
let's
Wait a
clear
minute, I
that.
ain't clear out. I'm not clearing out.
All right.
So moved.
Max, would you?
You read it.
Explain that again.
Yep, you did read it, I'll second it.
My goodness. Tanner has a question.
Squire Tanner was asking for clarification on that.
Yes.
So we're gonna vote to deny what the planning commission did?
No,
You vote no, we ought to approve what they did.
this doesn't say anything about the planning commission. This just says approving an ordinance amending the table of special ordinances.
Because basically, we can go either way. I mean, we know what the planning commission did, but it's ultimately up to us if we want this thing to go or not. So let's just set the planning commission aside right now, and this is just stating, what does this fiscal court want to do, who ultimately oversees all zone changes, correct?
Judge, could I ask,
ahead,
we had a denial recommendation last year by the planning commission, and we had the same discussion. It would seem to behoove us, in going forward, that an ordinance here reads that we're approving or denying the recommendation of the planning commission rather than the ordinance change for us to vote upon instead of an ordinance change, because we caught it and had discussion over several times in the past 3 years.
So we're voting on the zone change.
Yeah, we're voting on an ordinance, not a recommendation.
But support, an ordinance supporting or denying the planning commission's recommendation.
JW, you were a no vote, correct?
Well, no, he can't.
And I seconded your vote.
We can withdraw.
It's crystal.
You can withdraw, we start over, right? Because ultimately, if he doesn't want to do the zone change, he would be a no.
Correct.
So you don't want to make the motion.
I can make a motion
You
and
can
vote
make a
no.
motion either
Oh,
way.
okay.
I do it all the time.
Second,
Yeah.
you can vote whatever way you want to.
Right.
Okay, that's fine.
And I was your second on the no.
Okay, so we have two motions, so let's just, let's call roll on this one.
So
Wait,
Judge,
we only have one motion.
the motion was to deny the ordinance, so we would be voting affirmative if we want to deny the ordinance, the way he just worded it.
The motion, he didn't say
Just
deny.
clarify.
You all are really
The
twisting
way
it.
it was read was a motion to approve.
That's correct.
It's the way we've always done
Just
it.
said deny, but
He did
It was
not.
a motion to approve as stated.
But he can vote differently now. He's just getting on the books, right?
The motion.
we're voting on it as it reads, correct?
Yes. I'm gonna read it again. Read it again. I want everybody to understand. I don't want anybody not understand. Second reading and approval of an ordinance amending the table of special ordinances, section 1,
Well,
zoning
that's
map
exactly
changes of the
right.
Franklin
We
County
gotta vote
Code of Ordinances for a 1.75 acre tract located at 1120 Duckers Road
right here,
from
down
rural
there.
residential RR to general commercial district CG. The property is identified as a portion of the property described in deed book 507, page 574. The property is more specifically identified as tract 1, as shown on plat cabinet N, slide 7-1, in the office of the Franklin County Clerk.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so clerk, let's call roll on this one.
Squire Sebastian.
Yes or
No.
no?
No.
Squire Blackburn.
No.
Squire Dykus.
No.
Squire Harrod.
No.
Squire Tanner.
No.
Squire Wisman.
Nay.
Judge Mueller.
Motion fails. First reading of ordinance amended the table of special ordinances, section 1, zoning map changes of the Franklin County Code of Ordinances for a portion of the property, 47 acres at 5077-5930 US 127, south parcel number 053-00-00-04.00, a portion of the property, 70 acres at 6238 US 127, south parcel number 053-00-00-007.00, and a portion of the property, 57.696 acres at 2024 Keaton Lane, parcel number 053-00-00-008.00. No vote will be taken at this time. Authorization to approve the budget.
Could I ask, will that be on our next agenda for a second reading, which is what date?
August
The 12th.
So it will be on the August 12th agenda for second reading?
It will be on the following agenda so that we have the approved minutes from the planning commission.
Okay, so it'll be August, what, 30th? 27th. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, so this will be, the second vote will be on August 27th. Authorization to approve the budget transfers for FY 25-22.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to receive treasurer's report.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Payment of claims. Is there a motion to deny any payment of claims? No motion was made. Let the record reflect claims are to be paid. Authorization to hire Jaden Sullivan as a firefighter.
So moved.
Oh,
I'll second.
well, let's call, go ahead.
I need to abstain from this vote.
Okay,
This individual put me down as a reference,
okay.
so I need to abstain.
All right, thank you, Squire. Clerk, did you get that?
Yes, who's second?
Squire
I
Harrell.
will.
Mike. I did, and then Mike.
Yeah. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Motion passes. Welcome to the team. Authorization to approve a transfer of Arnold Riddle to the position of light equipment operator/driver with the road department effective August 18th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
7:30.
All those opposed say nay. We're adjourned, court. Thank you. Great night. Got a lot of work done.